Tim Nash here. Welcome to American Transplant. I'm standing here across from my favorite cafe. I'm standing under some trees as it's just started to rain. And as you can see, it's quite green and things are blooming, but this rain is much needed. So anyway, I wanted to come back to one of another common question I've got since moving here over 18 years ago, and that is, how was the culture shock? What was it like integrating and getting used to things here? And the answer was always the same. It was easy. And then I go on to tell them that I had lived in Far East Asia for over 3 years in the late 90s, and that was a shock, especially being obviously quite a bit younger than I am now, and never having been outside my country. There were a lot of different things, but also a lot of things that didn't make sense to me. I saw black, they saw white. I saw white, they saw black. So I thought it would be interesting to share with you the three sort of things that stick out from my time in Japan. I actually was in South Korea for a year, and then in Japan for over 2 years. There are lots of things I remember, lots of great memories from that time. But there are three things that really stick out when I think about some of the culture shocks while I was living there. And the first one has to do with the official signature in Japan. This was one of the first things that happened when I got there. I needed to open a bank account. So when I got settled in the city where I would be teaching English, Matsuyama, the head teacher of the school, Akiko was her name, she took me to a local bank, and I had my $300 or $500 US dollars or whatever that I wanted to, give them to start up my first bank account in Japan. Akiko was translating for me and telling me all of the steps, and I filled out all the paperwork and got to the end, and the bank clerk said, okay, please give us your hanko. I said, I asked Akiko, what's that, hanko? She said, oh, that's your official stamp with your Chinese characters on it, your name. You stamp on every official document. I said, well, doesn't she know that I just got here? First of all, I don't have Chinese characters for my name, and secondly, I just got here, so I don't have a hanko. Please tell her. Okay, yes, just a moment. And she went on to explain everything to this woman, and this poor teller called over her colleague and the assistant manager, and soon there was a small crowd around my documents, and I thought, what's going on here, And I thought, oh, this is just, a matter of, figuring out a workaround, and they're going to give me back a bank card and give me back my, receipts or whatever. And they sort of pushed the papers toward me and said, sorry, not possible. And, this was a real shock, a bank who didn't want my money, So that was my rude awakening in Japan. I also had a great learning from that, because I think I probably, if not lost my temper, I certainly felt myself getting angry and sort of raising my voice at the absurdity of it. And I learned then, and it was something that I continued to learn over my time there, anger doesn't get you anywhere in Japan. So if you ever visit Japan and you ask to speak to the manager, be careful, because the manager might stick to the rules more than the server, or whoever it is that you're arguing with. The second thing that really sticks out for me is the ATM system, or the ATM hours in Japan. So they had ATMs outside their banks, the cash withdrawal machines. Every bank had one outside, which was very convenient. But as soon as the bank would close, 5 o'clock came and the bank would close, a big steel iron gate would drop over the ATM, the cage, and it was closed. And it stayed closed while the bank was closed, even the weekends, which to my mind, defeated the purpose of having an ATM, which allows you to have access to your money, you get cash on the weekend or when the banks are closed. But the ATMs in Japan kept banking hours, at least when I was there back in the 90s. And the last thing that really sticks out, I like to call 3 for the price of 3. And the first time I experienced this phenomenon, I think I went down to the local community center, sort of the local YMCA type place, and went to buy my day ticket, my single entry ticket. And the woman working there, she said, "Do you want the day ticket just a one time, or do you want the 10 time, the card for 10 times?" I said, oh, in my basic Japanese, I said, "Well, what's okay? How much does it cost for just today?" And she said, 200 yen. Okay, and okay, what if I buy the tenor card? How much is that? She said, 2,000 yen. Again, basic Japanese. I tried to clarify that and thought I must have misunderstood her. Anyway, sometime later. So anyway, I bought that day card that day, and I think if I ever returned, I bought another day card. Anyway, a few years later, probably a short while later, I remember walking by a fruit and vegetable shop, and I saw a special on melons. I don't remember what kind of melons, but there was a special on melons, and it was 3 for 3,000 yen. I thought, oh, that's pretty good, because a good melon can be quite expensive in Japan. Back in the day, they were, melons was a classic wedding present. Good round ripe melon was a married couple could only wish for something like that. Anyway, so I looked a little closer and saw that you could buy an individual melon for 1,000 yen, or you could get 3 for 3,000 yen. And then I realized I hadn't been mistaken back at the community center, and I had in fact understood her, but there was something culturally I didn't get about the 3 for the price of 3. Anyway, that's all for today. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.